When you see a firefly light up a summer evening, or you see those incredible videos from the deep ocean, what you're seeing is bioluminescence. It's nature's own way of making light. And yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, but what's truly mind-blowing is how it's become one of the most powerful super tools in all of modern science. So let's get into it.
I know, it sounds like pure science fiction, right? But this is a question that scientists are actually answering as we speak. That same bit of natural magic from a firefly is literally being engineered to light up and track diseases inside our own bodies. But before we jump into the high-tech labs, let's start at the beginning. Out in the wild. Why on earth did living things even evolve this ability to glow in the first place?
Okay, so the textbook definition is pretty straightforward. It's just light, made by life. But that simple definition hides this incredible world of complexity. The how it's made, and even more importantly, the why, well, that's where the story really gets interesting. See, this glow is almost never just for show. It's a hardcore survival tool. Think about it. An anglerfish in the pitch-black ocean uses a glowing lure to snag its next meal. A deep-sea squid can flash a blinding light to stun a predator and make a quick getaway. And, of course, fireflies use those very specific blinking patterns to find a mate. It's all about survival. So how do they actually do it? What's the recipe? What are the ingredients inside that organism that create light? Let's break down the chemistry. And what's so cool is that nature came up with more than one way to do this. There are a few different recipes, or flavors of light. The firefly system, for instance, runs on ATP. That's the exact same energy molecule that powers our own cells. Marine life often uses a different compound, coelanthrosine, to get that classic deep-sea blue light. And then you have bacteria, which are just completely self-sufficient. They have the entire instruction manual for making light, the whole recipe, built right into their DNA. And this quote right here just perfectly captures how far we've taken this. We've gone from admiring nature's light to using those very same chemical reactions for everything from drug discovery to checking for bacteria in a hospital, all the way to watching what's happening inside a living creature in real time. But here's the catch. As amazing as these natural light systems are, they're not quite right for our purposes straight out of the box. To turn them into the powerful tools we need for medicine, scientists had to basically become biological hackers. So here's the biggest problem. If you're trying to see something glowing deep inside the body, colors like blue or green, they just get soaked up. Our blood and tissues basically act like a big red filter, absorbing that light before we can see it from the outside. It's kind of like trying to spot a tiny blue LED through a thick red curtain. You're just not going to see it. So to get past that red curtain, scientists needed a whole different kind of light. They needed light in this very specific range, 650 to 900 nanometers. In this range, this is what's known as the biological window. Why? Because light in this near-infrared part of the spectrum can pass through our tissues much more easily. It gives us a clear window to see what's happening inside. So the mission became clear: hack bioluminescence so it glows red. So scientists launched this two-pronged attack. First, they started creating new synthetic fuels, what we call designer luciferins, that are built to produce a brighter, redder light. And second, they went in and re-engineered the engine itself, the luciferase enzyme, making it more stable, more efficient, and basically custom-built for the job. All right, so after all that brilliant hacking and engineering, what can we actually do with these custom glowing systems? Well, this is where things got really cool. Okay, remember how the firefly's glow is powered by ATP, the energy currency of all living cells? Well, that turns out to be an incredible feature we can exploit. Because every living thing has ATP, we can use the firefly system as a super sensitive life detector. The brighter the light, the more ATP there is. This is actually used in hygiene swabs in places like hospitals. You swab a surface, and if it glows, you've got contamination. It's so sensitive, it can detect the ATP from a single bacterial cell. Now, this might just be the most game-changing application of all. Using those engineered red-glowing light systems, we can literally watch biology happen live inside a living animal without ever having to make a single cut. And this brings us right back to that question we asked at the very beginning. How do you fight cancer with a firefly's glow? Well, scientists can take cancer cells and modify them to produce that light-making enzyme. Then, when they give the animal the engineered fuel, only the cancer cells light up. This lets researchers watch a tumor grow, see if it spreads, and, most importantly, see in real time if a new drug is actually working to kill those glowing cells.
But what if you want to see things that are even smaller than a cell? Like, what if you want to see the tiny protein machines inside our cells actually doing their jobs? We can do that too with a technique called BRET. Imagine this. You tag one protein with a tiny light bulb and a second protein with a receiver that can only light up in a different color if it gets energy from that first bulb. Well, if those two proteins come together and interact, bam, energy is transferred and you see that new color. You are literally watching molecules shake hands inside a living cell. It's an unbelievably elegant way to map out the invisible world of biology.
I mean, from tracking cancer to watching molecules interact, what we can do already is just astounding. But the research is now pushing into territory that feels like it's straight out of science fiction. Yep. One of the biggest dreams in this whole field is to create what are called autoluminescent plants. We're not just talking about a plant that flashes for a second in a lab. We're talking about plants that can glow on their own, sustainably, as a permanent feature. Now, the early attempts to do this using the system from bacteria, they didn't really work. The light was super dim, and worse, the chemical process was actually toxic to the plants. But just recently, there was a huge breakthrough. Scientists figured out how to use the bioluminescence recipe from glowing fungi instead. And it completely changed the game. It's way brighter, and this is the key, it's sustainable and non-toxic. The plants can just glow and glow and glow. So that just leaves you with this incredible thought. We've gone from just watching a firefly in wonder to literally rewriting its genetic code. We've turned that code into a tool to fight our worst diseases. And now we're on the cusp of creating living, breathing light sources. If we can engineer a plant to light up a room, it really makes you wonder, what are we going to illuminate next?